We're here at Wonderworks, Emmon and Chris, and they're working on the interior. Here's some design ideas.
So this actually might tie in with the idea you're thinking of the bubble. So on this one, the dash doing something where it basically scallops and comes to a point, but maybe we could replace this bump with a domed in bump possibly and have your gauges continue. Right now this was just kind of a scooped thing.
Yeah.
It's just kind of keeping that very streamlined, mimicking kind of the shape of the body.
Well, how about if, something went in there?
Yeah, so we can even bring it down a little bit so it's almost
Right.
like not a full center console, but maybe it sticks out maybe that far past the dash and have it be a contained little globe and you can put your gauges in there, whether we do something with a hologram or just rotating gauges, but that could be something like this. Maybe keep this here and then maybe the front of it would be a glass dome possibly even, like a quarter of a hemisphere. And that could go regardless if it's 1 or 2-seater. But initially when this was thinking of being a 2-seater, having a center divider, but I'm realizing there's just not gonna be the space for it. So if you keep this as a 2-seater and making almost like those 1960s moon chairs,
Yeah.
where it's actually basically a bucket seat for 2 people, almost like a love seat.
Right.
So it would basically build it in and have it round into the door, so it's one big, basically round chair for 2 people. And then this would just be the rounds of Nagahide, the rolled pleated style, mimicking the previous model. The chair having the same thing basically, and then just your dash having that kind of pointed arrow, again that streamlined spaceship look to it. But if you do this one, possibly right here off the dash, doing some. This is more of the look I'm thinking of. Do you remember on the 80s those limousine, the television satellite dish, the boomerangs on the back of the car?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That, but fattening it up and having it up here and then basically having your gauges built into the face of it. So again, it's that arrow, very pointed design to it. And just have it sitting, not too far off the dash, something very, very shallow. And it just sits right on top of the dash and your gauges slightly arced like this, possibly, and then just mimicking this kind of boomerang shape to it.
And this section, if it's like that with a floating center section, then this area could also be dished, so it gives a space for this to float even additionally.
Yeah, we could kind of scallop it down a little bit, absolutely.
Even though it's very close, there's actually quite a bit of space vertically up until the bubble.
Yeah, because where the bubble's going to be, you're going to have all this kind of space to it, so we just fill it in with these kind of shapes here. And this, again, we can incorporate the more glass dome, which we've been talking about now possibly too, maybe filling up the front of it, or just doing the boomerang, but we could play with those ideas possibly.
Oh, that'd be great.
Now, what is this shape? Because it comes to a real...
This is basically, the idea was, this is roughly being the bubble. I don't think that's the exact shape of the bubble, but this was the dashboard.
It would be round.
Okay, so basically picture this just rounded off.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
This is real preliminary. This is the existing metal frame. This is the actual floor mock-up. So we can cover this up with just a large, bulky cushion, possibly build some of the buttons into it, and maybe even build some of the gauges into the front here where it curves back around, possibly. But this would basically be the hollow area where all your stuff's going to be built into, so you can cover it up. I hate the word armrest, but something along, basically a form right here.
I like that because it's not an armrest that comes out like this and like normal, but it is it's essentially the same thing.
If we're going with 2 people, that's probably going to be very big because it's not going to have a whole lot of room, but I think once we know the exact size, it will... Might be a little more room here. Okay, so it's going to be a good size then.
2 people, they're going to be sitting, so the one, this is center one here.
Yeah.
So 1 person, and if you're over here, then you have your shoulders. I mean, it could come up even just this spot, and then you can be... Yeah. So, I mean, it could be...